day to you. We are broadcasting live today. We are at Camp Timberley, and they're going to get into that coming up here shortly. Today is a special day as well. You got an early Packers game, final preseason game coming up at Lambeau Field. Noon kickoff between the Packers and the Seattle Seahawks, and that'll get underway a little bit later on. You got Brewers back at it again tonight after a nice win last night over the San Diego Padres, in which they continue to win. And it was nice to see Rowdy Tellez go yard last night, so to see him come back and play pretty well. But if you go to the Facebook fan page, which is facebook.com/The Bill Michael Show, facebook.com/The Bill Michael Show. Today we're at Camp Timberley, and Camp Timberley is it's kind of a family camp. It's a camp for kids. They use it for the burn camp as well, for kids who all have kind of the same situation, we'll say, which is kind of cool. So there's many things down here that are for kids, for families, and you can look it up. Go to Camp Timber, Timber-Lee, and you can see for yourself. But this was a camp that, and we're going to talk with Jessica Lynch, who's the director, coming up here in a little bit, but this was a camp that was it was well funded, it was well staffed, and then, like everything in the world, it changed, and COVID hit, and it's coming back. But they obviously want to raise some awareness. They have a motorcycle ride coming in a little bit later on today. You're probably going to hear that rumble here. We're just doing an hour-long cast today, and a lot of this is going to then re-air in snippets on the show during the week next week. Monday, don't forget, we're going to be Grant Bills is actually going to take you all day on Monday, because I'm going to be at the Fisher House Golf Outing down at Geneva National, and then back on Tuesday, and we'll talk about everything regarding the Green Bay Packers, the Seattle Seahawks, as Tuesday at 3 p.m. Central Time is Bubble Day. That is cut time for some that are efforting to make the Green Bay Packers and ultimately will not. So that'll be going on as well. Feel free to read and respond today, because this is just us via the cast, which is always kind of cool. So no commercial interruptions for the next hour. And again, if you get a chance to take a look at some of the pictures that we took a little bit earlier today, this is an immense facility with its own lake, cabins, camping, RV sites, horseback riding, zip lining, volleyballs, basketballs, wall climbing. I mean, I can go on and on and on. But so many activities. It's kind of a big, summer camp as well for kids. But they do a lot. It's open year round, and they do a lot of things here in the wintertime too, as well as make their own snow and do cross country skiing and, pumpkin farms. And they teach you farming. And up until not that long ago, they taught you blacksmithing as well. But just a lot of cool stuff. So anyway, that being said, that's where we're at today. Jason said, Jordan Love, the next big thing. Let's hope, Jason. Let's hope. And is that a prediction, or is that a statement, or what? Just an FYI. So if you want to give us a shout on the live stream today, by all means, go ahead and do so. From what I hear, and I believe they are coming in now, but the motorcycles are starting to arrive. They're off in the distance there a little bit as you look towards the parking lot and the zip line area and such. But I don't know, a couple, about 100, 120 motorcyclists. They had the ride for kids and ride for camp today. So that's why we're here. They invited us down. Obviously, a motorcycle ride going on. I can't bring all the equipment. I can't do the show on the motorcycle. But that being said, we can certainly be here and support it, as the ride started up in Oconomowoc, Wisconsin, and is arriving down here today. So pretty cool stuff. Again, we're broadcasting live at Camp Timberley, and you can find us there. Jason, perfect cigar morning, 30 minutes till kickoff. Go Pack Go. Yeah, I've got the DVR going. I'm going to be heading back to the house after the broadcast today and watching everything just like you. What I really can't wait for, to be perfectly honest with you, I can't wait for the postgame show. I can't wait to be sitting there at Lambeau or down in Chicago, as we're going to be doing our broadcast live down there in Chicago for the first Packers-Bears game this season. We're going to be at the Chicago, in the Shy Bar, actually, at the Sheridan Grand Riverwalk. So if you're going down and you're a Packers fan, you want to come over after the fact, please feel free. Feel free to come on over, because we're going to be there. And it's always a party. Hopefully it should be just awesome. But the postgame show going to be taking place down there, and then it's going to be all season long. And we have our location to be announced, which is coming rather quickly. and we've got something. We've got something good in the making. So we'll be good. Jason, I'm glad you see Super Bowls with Jordan Love. Right now, I don't know how you see that, but hopefully you do, and hopefully you turn out to be right. So looking forward to that. I got a couple of things that I wanted to go over here real quick, housekeeping things. Again, on Monday, Grant's going to take you for the entire show. I'm going to be at a golf outing and then back on Tuesday. But we're going to be live in La Crosse on Tuesday, as we're going to be up there for the cigar dinner at Celebrations coming up on Tuesday evening. And from what I understand, tickets, I think there's like a handful, maybe 2 or 4 left. They actually expanded the amount of people that they're going to allow in Celebration. So if you're watching us from La Crosse today, remember that there might be 4 tickets remaining, but that's about it. The thing sold out, and then they opened it up to some more tickets, and it sold out, and they opened it up to, I think, 10 more, and I think they got like 2 left. So that's up in La Crosse. So anyway, that being said, good stuff down here today, and we are honored to be here. And this is something that has kind of been, and I get the history of it. We'll get the history of it from Jessica Lynch coming up in a minute. But and Jessica is the one you see standing off in the distance there, as a matter of fact, walking towards us. But when you talk about the camp, and when you talk about the area that it covers, and I mean acres and acres and acres, 600 acres to be exact, of all kinds of different stuff down here that we had mentioned a little bit earlier. And just a tremendous place. As a matter of fact, I was kind of stunned when I found out it was like year round, which is really kind of cool. And when it's year round, you can come down. There's people tenting out here today. There's a full band back in one of the areas. The lake is not full of people swimming today. It's a little bit cooler today, which is odd to say considering we're had a heat index of 103 just a couple of days ago. But the they've got a lake, and you can swim and kayak and canoe, and they had a petting zoo and llamas and all kinds of stuff. So, but this is a huge 600-acre outdoor facility, a huge natural landscape, and tons of camping activities and hiking activities and rock climbing activities, zip lining, kayaking, canoeing. I mentioned I could go on and on. I mean, it's really, really cool. And they even have indoor education centers for kids, specifically for summer campers. But indoor education centers, some of the pictures I took were in one of the reptile rooms, everything from turtles and snakes and just all kinds of stuff that'll make your skin crawl, but kids love. And they have that on site down here, and instructors that can, help the kids and teach the kids and allow them to hold and touch and feel stuff like that. And so really, really neat stuff there. But one of the biggest things, if you go to their website, one of the biggest things, which is just timberlee.com, is they have a lot of different things that are coming up in the future that they're, obviously looking for funding for. And one of our sponsors, Greg Kunis from Kunis Automotive, it wasn't that long ago that the camp was in rough shape, I guess might be the best way to put it, where you really weren't quite sure where all the funding was coming from. And then Greg stepped in and said, no, we're going to buy it and we're going to bring it back to life. And they certainly have. Everything from the floral and such decorations and the things they do around here to just the infrastructure. Things like washers and dryers and, hot water heaters for the campers and things like that. Stuff that they need. So just a lot of really needed things that infrastructure-wise that they stepped up and said, hey, we're going to start some funding campaigns for, they're going to pay for. And the Kunis Automotive Group, and them through all the RV travels that we do. For everywhere we go. We were just out in Sturgis using a Kunis RV. We were up in Green Bay a couple weeks ago for training camp. We did the broadcast actually out of the RV. We were all over this. We'll be in Tomahawk this year. With the RV, we travel, whether it was to some of the cigar dinners, the golf outings, a lot of our on-site broadcasts. That's what we travel in when we crisscross the state of Wisconsin and get beyond the borders. So, the Kunis RV name and the Kunis name via the automotive side, and they have been so good to us about all of that stuff. And that is one of the reasons we are here, because they said, hey, can you help us out? You've got a huge reach, and we'd be glad to. I mean, for something like this and for the group that it is, we were absolutely honored. So Camp Timberlee also offers a host, as I had mentioned, of educational things, programs. They focus on environmental sustainability. The camp facilities include comfortable cabins and dining halls and sports facilities, state-of-the-art adventure parks, all designed to optimize your experience. They have everything from the cabins to tent camping to RV camping to full hookup RV camping. So whatever it is you're looking for, and maybe as a family, this would be the place to go. This would be the place to go. If you want to get a hold of us, great to have so many on board today. Jason says, have to ride down and check out Cool in Green Bay, another preseason game that feels and looks like a regular season preseason game. Hasn't felt like that in some time. No, it hasn't, but it's going to be short-lived from what I understand. I think it's going to be, if I'm not mistaken, mid-80s this week. So, the brief period of 60s, I think, is today. And then beginning tomorrow, it creeps back into the 70s. And then it only goes up from there. As a matter of fact, our guy, Drew Burgoyne from CBS 58, was talking to us during the week because he's the guy that over the years has been very, very instrumental in giving us the weather forecast and the updates about the motorcycle ride that we have coming up a week from tomorrow. So we're 8 days away from our own ride and our own charity event going on. But if you have, which by the way, if you have not gotten registered for, there you go. There's all the information right there. You can scan the QR code. You can go to facebook.com/BigUnitPokerRun, scan that QR code, and you can get registered for that again a week from this Sunday, a week from tomorrow. So you can go and check that out as well. But Drew says it's going to get warm, and by next Sunday we're going to be talking low 80s and sunshine and all good. And so if hey, if you can, by all means, go ahead. Like I said, scan the QR code and get registered. And the prizes are being packaged up today. The baskets are being made today. Everything is just super awesome. So, and we were out on the ride yesterday. We did it again, cleaned up some of the areas. So that was fine. And we've got all of that upcoming next Sunday, a week from Sunday. Tim Duffy, just kind of a true American hero, is going to be joining us, the firefighter that rode the motorcycle into the Twin Towers the day of 9/11. He is going to be joining us. Jesse James Dupree from the band Jackal is going to be joining us as well. And so it's going to be a tremendous time. So again, come on by. And hopefully you can join us if you're a motorcyclist next Sunday. Joining me here, Jessica Lynch, who is the director of Camp Timberlea. How you doing?
I'm doing great.
Yeah. So first of all, thanks for the tour. The tour was incredibly educational today. That was what a cool place.
I'm so glad.
So first of all, explain the ride today, because I want people to know, for the riders that are coming in, and we're seeing them stream past us right now, as many are. What was the ride specifically for?
So the ride today is sponsoring our camper scholarships.
Okay.
We fundraise throughout the year to provide scholarships to help camp families defray the cost of camp for families that aren't able to support the whole thing. Okay,
which is awesome. And you and I talked, because I did a ride with the Professional Firefighters Association for the burn camp. Yes. And so all the info, I understand what the burn camp was all about, but I didn't know that was just a part of what you do here.
So the Professional Firefighters of Wisconsin Charitable Foundation hosts their annual burn camp at Timberlea. Mm-hmm. They actually rent us out for a whole week, and it's one of my favorite weeks of the year. Actually, we love having them out here, and they come in as a retreat group.
Okay.
As a guest group, they come in, they rent out the whole thing. We love having them. We love partnering with them. Yeah. We love their cause.
And that's a really cool event. One of the girls spoke. And for those that don't know, there are kids that are involved in fires or get burned or what have you. There's some kind of a scarring, for lack of a better term, that takes place. And at times they feel like they're either different or outcasts or what have you. But when they come here, everybody has had somewhat the same experience and have the same markings, so to speak.
Yes.
And it's just a place where they can come and all just hang out because they all have the same experiences and they just feel like they fit in, which is tremendous.
Absolutely. And one of the really cool things that Burn Camp does when they come to Timberlea for a week is they host what they call Visitors Day. And they bring in as many fire departments and police departments as are able to come that day and kind of do a parade through camp. And
really?
They have their sirens going and their lights going.
Oh, that's cool.
They bring in Flight for Life, which I love. And the purpose behind that is because children who've been scarred in a fire often have fear surrounding the sound of sirens or just emergency vehicles in general.
Sure.
So they really try to make it a calming thing or an exciting thing, and to take the fear away. And it's it's a fun day for us. Of course, they run the whole thing, and we just get to enjoy it. But it's fantastic. We love it.
So now we were kind of traveling around this, which 600 acres is massive, including your own lake.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So we were talking about things. Let's start with the things in need, and give me a history, because this camp is 75.
Yep. Timberley has been in existence for 75 years.
Okay.
We started out in Walworth County at a camp called Willowbay. And in 1972, the camp was able to purchase this beautiful property and then moved from Camp Willowbay to here, which is now called Camp Timberley.
Okay.
They actually at that point had, as I showed you, we have quite an extensive horse program.
Yeah.
The horse program started out in Williams Bay at the Willow Bay camp, and they actually rode the horses from there over to here back in 1972. So not the same horses, but the ones that were there at the time they rode them out.
When we took the tour around, I was amazed at the I mean, this is not something that's just open for 6-12 weeks and then you close it down. This is year round. This is your own farm. This is your own horses and bays and llamas and goats and stables, and this is a working entity year round.
Yes.
So let's talk about the off season first, because we've got the off season coming up. So you have fall going into winter. You can make your own snow. You can have cross country skiing. You do pumpkin walks. I mean,
we do.
It's not just for summer, so to speak.
It's not. We run year round. We run different programs, different times of the year. So during summer, we run week-long summer camps for children, second grade through seniors in high school. And that's a traditional summer camp setting, where it's a 6-day experience for them, actually kind of a 7-day. They get dropped off on Saturday night, picked up or Sunday night, picked up Saturday morning.
Yeah.
So we run 8 weeks of camp, 2 weeks of staff training. We try to grow our staff by about 100 or more in the summer to support our campers. Right now we're coming out of the summer camp season, and as you can see, we're really busy here today. We are having this really great Cruising for Campers event that our PR manager, Rebecca DeLuca, set up, which is fantastic. She's also a Harley girl, so she rides.
Okay.
But we also have retreat groups that are here. And so these groups have come in. A lot of them are church groups, and they have rented our facility. They're able to come in and use our campground. We have a group out in the campground. We have some groups out here in our cabins, and they participate in the activities that we have available. You and I went out when we saw some that were doing the tower. They were climbing the tower. We should have some zip
Which is, for those who want to know, it's like a rock climbing tower.
It is.
It's a rappelling tower, a rock climbing tower. I mean, and it's not your one that you're going to find in the mall. This is the real deal. It's really big.
It is really big. We are to a point now where we're going to start fundraising to build a new one.
Okay.
We've had that tower for a while. It's time to upgrade it. It gets a lot of use year round. We use it whenever the weather permits. So it's really not just a summer thing. We use it it's actually very popular with our school groups. We have an outdoor education program that we run in fall, winter, and spring. And it's an extremely popular activity for our groups, that climbing tower. So we're getting to a point where we're going to start fundraising to build a new one.
We were talking about that because the camp, for a short period of time was, and because I wanted people to know the history and why we're here. And so the history was it was being run, and then it went to a university that did not really cherish it kind of the way it should have been. Then coming out of that, COVID, and now today, Greg Kunis kind of said, hey, we're not going to let this thing die.
Yep. So in February of last year, the university, we had been kind of flying under the flag of that university since 2016. They came to a point where it was no longer sustainable for them to have a camp as ours is. And at that point, Greg Kunis and the Kunis family stepped in and said, you know what, we love what's going on here. We love the ministry. This is a Christian camp.
Okay.
And he loved the ministry that's happening here.
And I mentioned that, and I always say it's a Christian camp, but it's not, doesn't mean you have to be a religious person to show up here.
Absolutely. We especially our summer campers.
Yeah.
We will take all summer campers.
Yeah.
We love them. We do talk to them about the gospel when they're here.
Yeah.
But you don't have to come from a Christian family to be a camper. Absolutely not. And with our school groups that come in, we have school groups that are Christian schools, but we also cater to public schools.
Yeah.
And so we are able to teach science education classes and animal farm classes, just with that goes right along with the public school curriculum and education system.
So Greg buys it, and it is now up, running. And we were talking about a lot of the things that aren't necessarily going to make it pretty. You need things like, you got to start fixing the water heaters, and you want to start fixing the washer dryers and things like that. These are all things that you do while you're here for a sustainable period of time.
We do, absolutely. So we're just absolutely thrilled with our new owners. He's a great guy. We love the family.
He's just meandering around here somewhere. I saw him a few minutes ago.
He is meandering around. So hopefully we'll find him in a second. Yeah. But he really had a heart for what was going on here and has returned Timberlea to independence, to its own independent, not-for-profit status. And so we do need to be self-sustaining. It's an amazing thing that he has done and has really poured a lot of money into revitalizing things that had been broken over the last 6 years. But we do still need to do right by the organization. So we are, we're responsible for our own revenue and our own fundraising.
Right.
And we need to be. It's a great thing, and we're happy to do that. So you're absolutely right. We're at a point now we need to upgrade some washers and dryers.
Yeah.
Our washers and dryers are going. We do a lot of laundry. We do about 15 loads a day just of rags, to be honest with you, from all the cleaning that happens. And then in the summer, that time that swells quite a bit. The groups that are here today are using linens and things, so we've got a lot of cleaning to do. So those kind of things. And as I said, we're building the tower. We were able to replace some water heaters recently, and you and I went up and visited the ranch area of camp. That was recently resurfaced for our horses. We've quite a few horses up there.
Right. Yeah, I was amazed. You have 15?
Oh, no. I think we're pushing 40.
40.
And
wow.
So, and they all work. So trail rides are a very popular thing to do out at camp.
Because we didn't see them 40 horses. So.
Well, we didn't, because some of them were out working. We saw quite a few of them coming in for trail rides, but we also have arena horses, and they kind of rotate them through. Some horses, kind of specialize in some things. So if they're not working per se on a specific day, which today they're not all going to be working, some are out by Highway J, out by our farmhouse out there. And, they might be up in the feedlot, so you don't always see all of them, but they're out there.
Yeah, it's an amazing facility. And so when we were talking about the people that actually stay here, now you have people that are seasonal that are staying here, and then you actually have houses on site where a lot of your instructors or something, they stay here too.
So we do have a handful of staff that lives here year round.
Okay.
Most of those staff are our guest services staff that are on grounds to service our guests overnight, but they also work here during the day. We have a large contingent of what we call program specialists. They mostly run our rec and our activities, and they do live here. And then we have quite a large internship program. By the way, we're always accepting interns. So anybody out there that's interested in being an intern at Camp Timberlea, we have internships from all of our activity areas to our science education center, if you want to be a science education teacher and work with the smaller animals. And then there's a large number of us that do not live on ground. So I myself live out in Waukesha. It's a little bit of a drive for me to get out here, but I do it every day. So not everybody is residential this summer.
But there are some
and then our summer staff during the summer lives here for 10 weeks.
And I was going to say, and then the summer staff usually, and that's, if somebody wants to be a part of the summer staff, is there a specific requirement for that?
Our summer staff generally, who we're looking to hire, are 18 to early 20-year-olds, mostly just because you're working with campers, you're working with kids. That's really just the demographic that doesn't mind coming and staying out here for the summer. They build their own community. Right. It's kind of cool. We do hire 16-year-olds and up. 16-year-olds can be lifeguards. Okay. They can work in housekeeping and things like that. And this year we got lucky, and we got some people in the older demographic that said, "Hey, I want to come out and live at camp for the summer and help." So we don't discriminate age-wise. Yeah. But the summer staff do live together.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting. You got some people in RVs that are your summer volunteers, and they come park the RV and they stay the entire summer.
They do. So we have one couple here this summer from Texas. I think I want to say this is their 8th summer with us, and they're like family to us. They come up and they get here in May and they stay this summer. They're staying through actually to October.
Yeah.
That's a little unusual to have volunteers that come and stay that long. But again, they've been with us long enough that they're like one of us, so they come and stay. For the most part, we'll have volunteers in RVs that will come and stay a couple weeks at a time, and they'll come help with maintenance in the kitchen. Housekeeping is a really big area where we always need help. They'll come and help with that.
So if somebody wants to donate, whether it's say their services as an electrician, as a plumber, as a carpenter, whatever, or if they want to make a financial donation, where do they go?
You can go one of two places. If you're looking to volunteer a service or just volunteer in general, we do have a volunteer tab on our website. If you go to timberly.com and look for volunteers, or you can email our public relations manager. She also manages volunteers directly. Her name is Rebecca DeLuca, and she's just RebeccaDL@timber-lee.com to volunteer. You can also just call our main office. And say, hey, I want to volunteer. What do I need to do? To donate, we love donations. It's really what keeps camp ticking. You can donate online. We have a giving tab. You also can donate directly to camp by sending it directly to our address, just to attention to gifts or attention donations. So we have several specific areas in which you can donate. We have just a general annual fund, which really just helps everything that you see here keep ticking. We obviously can donate directly to the scholarship fund, which is what we're benefiting with this ride today. We also have a fund for the Science Education Center and also for Saddlehorn Ranch.
Oh, wow. You got a little bit of everything.
We do, yeah.
No, that sound you hear in the background is people taking off on the zip lines. That's what it is. I'm thinking, what is that sawing sound? And it's not. The sawing is done because there was a tree that went down over here next to us a little while ago, and they ended up getting rid of that thing almost in about an hour and a half's time. In the meantime, you've got, was that kids or is that the motorcyclists?
I think those are kids right now that are on that zip line, kids and adults. But we hear that sound all day long and we love it. Nothing's better than
kids are over there doing the zip line thing. I don't know if we can reach quite that. Out that way, maybe out in the distance, above that truck that's moving right there. You can just above that, you can see the tower. Well, it's great meeting you. Great talking to you. We're going to let you go, and you can go track down Greg and drag him over, and we'll see if we can't talk to Greg a little bit about that, and we'll give a little Packers update in the meantime. Okay.
Great, thank you.
All right, appreciate it. There you go. And that's Jessica Lynch. She's the director of Camp Timberly here, and we hope to check in with Greg Kunis coming up here shortly. In the meantime, we do have what is considered to be bubble day for the Green Bay Packers, for many Packers for that matter. Is, we were talking about a little bit earlier in the week about some of the guys that you don't know what the plethora of players is going to be. And when you look at guys like the wide receiving core, Christian Watson, Romeo Doubs, Jaden Reed, you got Samori Toure, pretty much guaranteed to be here. Bo Melton, Dontavian Wicks, Grant Dubose, Malik Heath, all of those guys, rather impressive. So if you go, say, with Bo Melton, who's got a little bit of experience, Dontavian Wicks, that puts you at 6. Grant Dubose puts you at 7. Malik Heath puts you at 8. One of those 4 guys, or 2 of those 4 guys, probably not going to be with the Green Bay Packers by the time cutdown day happens on Tuesday. Those guys, Dontavian Wicks, Bo Melton, Grant Dubose, Malik Heath, all need to have big days today. Somebody needs to really stand out today for them to make the squad. You got a guy like Caleb Jones, who is second, third on the depth chart over at the left tackle position. He was on the practice squad all last year. Again, really big guy. You're talking about a guy that's 6'8", 6'9", over 300 pounds, strong, lower strength, good body, but can he cut the muster when it comes to becoming a left tackle in the National Football League? You got a guy like Sean Ryan, who missed much of last season because of the PEDs. Third-round draft choice, came in this year, little bit, we'll say, off, but ended up kind of really putting himself into a good situation and really wasn't getting beat consistently in practice. As a matter of fact, there was a couple of practices where he went 7 for 7 and 8 for 8 and never lost a battle. So he really kind of solidified himself. You take a guy like Royce Newman, another guy like Rasheed Walker. Walker's had a pretty good camp as well. Zach Tom's been moved all around. They've got to make some decisions on those offensive linemen. You look at the tight end position. Now, Tyler Davis went down with a knee injury. His season's over with. So it kind of, that injury to Tyler Davis really, for all intents and purposes, probably helped Josiah DeGuara, in my opinion. DeGuara has been a tweener, whether or not he's been that fullback or that tight end, a guy that they wanted to run out of the slot, kind of a mismatch guy. The thing about DeGuara, when he came out of the University of Cincinnati, caught everything. You could put anything out in front of him, he'd catch it. He's got terrific hands. He's just, like I said, he's kind of a tweener. And then you got Aaron Jones, A.J. Dillon, Patrick Taylor, probably the favorite right now, but still Tyler Goodson, Emmanuel Wilson, well over, even if you take away the 80-yard run that he had against Cincinnati in the preseason game, he's still averaging almost 4.5 yards a carry and has ran really well so far in this camp. But again, needs a big showing today. Himself. So those guys all need to play well today if indeed they're going to make the cut coming up on Tuesday. Now you go to the defensive side of the football. You have guys like Colby Wooden, who's a fourth-round draft choice for the Packers, really looking to use him and fill the bill when you talk about TJ Slayton, Devontae Clark, mix and match. Carl Brooks, another one, the sixth-round draft choice. Jonathan Ford, sitting at the nose tackle position behind TJ Slayton right now. Seventh-round draft choice last year. And then you've got the guys like Antonio Moultrie, Chris Slayton, Jason Lewin. Those guys, they were kind of roster fillers, but can you make a name for yourself? Can you do enough? Maybe you get brought back to, say, the practice squad, things like that. Excuse me. So guys are getting into the fights, trying to hang on for jobs, make the practice squad to be noticed, because all throughout the season, and the unfortunate thing about the game is that injuries happen as a part of football. So when they do, you have to have these guys back there, and it still at least gives them a job, and it keeps them front of mind for not only your own general manager, but you can continue to do things where you look good. You have things on film for other teams. You're looking for they're going to play Jordan Love a little bit today, but you're looking for guys to really get it and step up and start to show their wares. Guys like Carrington Valentine, the corner in the defensive backfield. Then you've got Tavarius Moore and Jonathan Owens. Both of those guys in the secondary, both of those guys at safety were picked up in the offseason to solidify that safety position opposite Darnell Savage. They really haven't done that. It's been kind of a potpourri of meh. You got Rudy Ford back there, Dylan Levitt back there, Anthony Johnson Jr. back there, but nobody's really kind of taken a hold of it. And remember, when you talk about that safety position, let's be honest, the safety position going back to last season, that was a little bit iffy when it came to Darnell Savage, because Darnell Savage last year found himself in the doghouse. So it's he's not even one. Don't get me wrong, he's a starter, but he had issues last year, So there you go. It's guys are trying to get, solidify that defensive backfield. If you want to chime in, we're taking some of the notes and some of your thoughts over on the live stream. When you talk about preseason games, I'll say this, and I know people use the terms meaningless preseason games. Nothing's meaningless. Not to the guys that are trying to make a roster, not to the coaches that are trying to evaluate, and don't forget, not to the general managers who are looking at trying to evaluate what talent may or may not be there, and that they're going to try, maybe that team is going to try to sneak them through to a practice squad roster, and instead, just like at the safety position, the Green Bay Packers, they may be looking to fortify a position. So much like safety, you may be able to try to find a safety out there. What about the depth over the tight end position? You can be looking in that area as well. So many things that this team is looking at, not just in its own backyard, but the scouts are looking at hard coming up today. By the way, speaking of today, you've got games. Games are already, some games are already done. You had on Thursday night, you had the Eagles at home and the Colts 27-13. They got the win. Don't forget, the big news there is that the Colts have given Jonathan Taylor the ability to seek his own trade. Don't value the guy at all, which I find, is one of the key cogs in their offense. And not because he's a former Wisconsin Badger, but just because he's been good. Just a good player. Now, the contract negotiations have certainly broken down, and the value for the running back position has slowed and come to almost a drip. But the Colts just said, if you want to go find a trade, find a trade. And it seems like the feelings and the tensions between these two teams are almost insurmountable. Yeah, the Lions got a win over the Panthers last night. Panthers 26-17. They ended up taking a loss to the Lions. Lions putting up 20 points in the second quarter in that contest last night as you continue to look around the rest of the NFL. But last evening, you had for the Carolina Panthers, you had in the passing department, Bryce Young, 7 of 12. You didn't have a pick. You had one touchdown. You had a 103.8 quarterback rating. Got him in, got him out. Teddy Bridgewater, Martinez, Sudfeld, all for the Detroit Lions. Jared Goff did not play in that contest. Teddy Bridgewater, by the way, did go deep, a 70-yard touchdown pass last night. That went to Green over the top. In the meantime, the Lions just do what the Lions do. They're just kind of playing wait right now as they kind of wait for this season to unfold and get underway, because they are considered by many to be the favorite in the NFC North. In the meantime, the Patriots continue to struggle. Man, they continue to struggle. They got knocked off, and it was, to be honest with you, kind of an ugly game. Tennessee beat the hell out of them 23-7. And Bailey Zappi, 8 of 15, 57 yards. Cunningham goes 0 for 2. So McSorley goes 0 for 1. Not an impressive performance at all out of the passing game the other night for the New England Patriots, who, since Tom Brady, continue to struggle. Now, Mac Jones is going to be their guy, but even Bill Belichick, don't forget, during the offseason, was at least there were whispers that he may be willing to trade Mac Jones. And then 23-12, the Chargers knocked off last night the 49ers. Brock Purdy, a 5-yard touchdown run early on in that contest, pretty much got him out. After that, he was 5 of 9, 73 yards, nothing spectacular. Sam Darnold came in, 6 of 11, 89 yards, threw a touchdown pass. Purdy did run, like I said, the 5-yard scramble. Excuse me. The 5-yard scramble got him into the end zone. But, Deebo Samuel, a couple of catches last night, 18 yards, get him lathered up a little bit and then get him the hell out of there before it's all said and done. But nothing huge last night coming out of the Winstead. Ended up with a couple of catches for 32 yards, his longest being that 18-yard reception. Brandon Ayuk last night with a 35-yard pass that he ended up snagging, and Conley ended up having a 34-yarder. But for the most part, rather a snoozing yawn performance out of the favorites basically to win the West. So those were the 4 games that took place last night. Today, already off, the Bears are at home taking on the Buffalo Bills. You've got the Packers at home taking this on the Seahawks. You got the Kansas City Chiefs. They're at home, and the Browns are visiting, and the Cardinals are on the road up at US Bank Stadium taking on the Minnesota Vikings. All of those games just getting underway. The rest of the contests later tonight. You got the Jets. They're on the road taking on the Giants, but basically at the same place because both teams play in the Meadowlands, and that game is the much anticipated game, as we all know. That is the game that Aaron Rodgers is supposed to make his Jets debut. Then you got Cincinnati on the road taking on the Commanders. Cincinnati still without their main man, Joe Burrow, who is still coming back from that calf injury. I don't know if Burrow is supposed to play in that game contest or not. There was a lot of anticipation because in their last preseason game at Paycor Stadium last week, he was there pretty much warming up and did not have the sleeve on his calf and looked to be good, looked to be okay. Said he was just about ready, but when it comes to a calf strain, any kind of a muscle strain that takes you down for any extended period of time like this, you want to be as cautious can get. And that's what Cincinnati's doing with him. The Jaguars are hosting the Dolphins tonight, and the Dolphins, one of those teams favored. Possibly, I think still Buffalo seems to be the team to beat, but many people jumping on the Dolphins bandwagon for the type of season 2 ahead early on last year. Look at the statistics that he put up. And now they've only bolstered that defense even more. But the Dolphins in their final preseason game They're in Jacksonville taking on the Jaguars. The Buccaneers, they're hosting the Ravens coming up later on this evening, and that is going to be a 7 o'clock Eastern time, 6 o'clock Central time contest that's going to take place. And the Buccaneers, they are trying to get, figure out life after Tom Brady. And Ravens, don't forget, they get Lamar Jackson back. They're anticipating a big season and battling for that AFC North with Cincinnati. The Cowboys are at home taking on the Raiders. The Rams are on the road in Denver. They're taking on the Broncos and company. And then you got the Saints and the Texans coming up a little bit later on tonight as well. One of the other scores I failed to mention, Steelers ran wild on Thursday night as well, 24-0. They ended up knocking off the Falcons in that contest. And Mike Tomlin, love him as a head coach, really solid, has been for a long, long time. And Mitch Trubisky, by the way, 54 yards, no touchdowns in that contest, but nevertheless got a little bit of time. So did Rudolph, so did Pickett. Pickett was 4 for 4 for 86 yards. So there you have it. And really not much of a contest there as Atlanta's still trying to figure themselves out. Ritter is going to be their quarterback, did not play in that contest. So there you have it. That is your full wrap of NFL isms underway up at Lambeau. And we are broadcasting live down here at Camp Timberley. And I am going to kind of throw the headset over and defer to Greg Kunis. I know you got I wanted to wait for you to finish chewing. How you doing,
Bill? I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. It is, first of all, it's an honor to be here. I certainly appreciate you, inviting us down and to be a part of this. We've been wanting to do this for a while. We've been trying to kind of get this thing together and participate here. But when I went with Jessica earlier today, what an amazing
it is.
I can see why you said we can't let this thing go.
I just saw that they stopped the kids from coming, and we're shutting everything down, giving deposits back, and employees were looking for work, and you just saw all the good that God had done here, and just said we can't change his lives.
What now? Let me ask you this, because you guys are expansive. We talk about all your dealerships and the RV dealerships and such, and you guys are just growing, and you're all over the place. Little slice of land here in Walworth County that made you go, okay, we can't, this is near and dear to my heart.
I don't know. Sometimes God just takes you to a certain spot for some reason you had no plan on going to. I'd only been there once when I dropped off my kids for OE and for outdoor ed. And I didn't know anything about it, but I'd help them with nurses' cars every summer so that nurses could get kids to and from a hospital or wherever if an emergency happened. It didn't happen often. But and I heard it was closing. Someone had told me that, and I drove out here with my wife on a weekend, and we drove around and saw kids and saw activities and just could feel the spirit here. Yeah. And my wife said, you can't shut this down. Right. You can't let it happen. So it's just how God works.
Yeah, it's an amazing place. We were talking about all the different things that are offered, and as Jessica really eloquently put it, she said, it's not this massive overall project that needs to be done. It's all the little things.
Yes.
It's water heaters and it's dryers and it's
roofs.
It's roofs. And she said, we got some linens we need to change, and we're going to rebuild the climbing wall. But it just, when you start to drive around and you see everybody utilizing something, it really is pretty cool. Because first of all, I'll be honest, I didn't even know this existed.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's part of the reason that I'm here, because I thought, because being on 16 stations and all throughout the state and in every major city and this and that, there's a lot of things that we get a chance to do in the state of Wisconsin that people in other areas never knew existed. So when we go to Chippewa Falls, I love riding my bike on the old Abe Trail. Nobody knew that existed unless you live there. When you come down here, nobody knew this. I didn't know this was here. This is an amazing place.
Yeah, 550 acres, and I think there's 100 buildings roughly. Total on here. There's about 30 some homes that people are living in. That work here, and they come here. It's a heart decision. It's not a money decision. It's a heart decision, just to see lives changed. And kids, all the computers and all of the phones go away, and they just are in the outdoors and enjoying each other and singing, and just it's a great experience for them.
So you have been successful in your business. You've got dealerships, as I had mentioned, all throughout southern Wisconsin and into northern Illinois, and the RV thing has just exploded. I mean, you can't pass a billboard anymore without seeing a Kunis sign somewhere. But so how does this work into business? Because as Jessica said, it's got to be a self-sustaining 501(c)(3). So do you just come in and say, because you can't just throw money at a situation, you have to do something hands-on, right? So what is when you look out and you see this, what is your vision?
Well, I think the vision is for other people to help, to visit here, to understand what we're trying to do here. It's one thing for us to buy it and then sustain it for this first 6 months, but after that, it has to be self-sustaining. So we need other people to hook in and feel it, and just get the heart of the whole camp and what's happening in kids' lives, and what a difference it makes to our whole area. I mean, we got kids coming from all over the place. So some people have said they came here and their grandkids are now coming here. So we have to find ways for other people to make that heart decision to say, I want to be a part of it in whatever way that is. It makes some people come in here and just plant all spring. Some people come in and work on equipment or work on buildings. And some people just feel like they should give and just help. So, it's one thing in business, you're transacting and you're selling things and fixing things. And here it's about giving. It really is about giving to other people's lives. So
what we're going to do, and we're going to do it over the next 2 weeks, we are going to run an auction on the show. And since you've been so kind to put us in an RV, and it's everywhere, which people now point at it everywhere we go. But what we're going to do is we're going to utilize that. So we're going to give out we're going to auction off 2 tickets to a Packers game.
Excellent.
We will come anywhere in the state in your RV and pick them up so they don't have to drive. We'll take them to the game. They can come and be a part of the post-game show on the network and give us their thoughts if they're not too hammered.
Yeah, exactly.
And then we're going to take them back home. And so that whole experience, going to Lambeau, enjoying the game, the whole thing. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to auction that off. So we'll utilize what you do for us. We'll utilize what access we have. And starting on Tuesday of next week, we're going to start that. And hopefully we can raise, a few $1,000 and
excellent.
And maybe buy a couple of washers and dryers.
Yeah, no, that's what we need.
That'd be awesome.
That's a big thing we need right now is washers and dryers. So,
and if we could get that, and maybe we get a few sponsors to jump on board and give us a really good price, maybe we can buy a whole laundromat. Who knows?
That'd be great.
How about that?
I appreciate that. Yeah, that's awesome.
I got to get a hold of your guy Bobby now because he's like, I think we got some passes back here we might be able to utilize. So who knows? Maybe we can do that. Yeah. So okay, now obviously this is. When you look at this, do you look at this now because you have an empire when it comes to vehicles, but is this kind of the emotional side of legacy?
It is. It's what do we give back and what do we leave? It's one thing to take and absorb things in this world, but what do we give back and what do we give to generations? And you know what? Maybe no one will ever know, but it's not up to us to figure that out. You know, it's up to our Creator to figure that out, and just we do it for the right reasons and the right heart. Hopefully someday our treasures in heaven. So
no doubt. Well,
we appreciate what you do we're
glad that, we were able to work it out and the dates all worked and it was like, we'll be there. And then all this gets redone on the air. And then the best part about it is we're going to run the auction for 2 weeks.
Excellent.
And we'll take somebody to Lambeau and give them a great experience. And hopefully, who knows, maybe it's somebody from down here in Walworth County. We pick them up here.
Good.
They get a chance to see the place. That'd be kind of cool.
That'd be great.
Just start spreading the word.
I appreciate it, Bill. Yeah.
Great stuff, man.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks so
for
much
you do too. Thanks for being a part of it. It's a good partnership. We appreciate it very much.
It's great. It's absolutely awesome. And I got to tell you this. We were out in Sturgis. Your people, because you give us a Nexus to use, and Brian, who is from British Columbia up in Canada, called me from Nexus and took care of, just wanted to make sure we were good. Took care of anything we had. He's like, hey, we got people. Just let us know if you need anything. And he said, if you see anybody else out there. So we started taking pictures of Kunis campsites.
That's awesome.
In Sturgis of people that were there. And it became all this really weird brotherhood, so, which was really kind of great. But but it wasn't just you guys at the Elkhorn location. It was you guys getting a hold of the people from Nexus, getting a hold of us. And it's the manufacturer calling. You're sitting out there in the middle of a campsite out in the middle of the Badlands. And need anything, let us know.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
I'm glad.
Yeah. That's a great story.
Yeah. Thanks a lot.
Turned out great.
Thanks a lot.
There you go. Greg Kunis. We're going to go ahead and take a deviation away from that side of things. Is Greg's going to go back. Go enjoy the party. They got food back there, right? Yeah. There you go. Awesome stuff. So it's a great time down here in Camp Timberley, as he had mentioned. It's just a spectacular place. You kind of see off in the distance the zip line there, and you can see people heading up to the back cabin area, and they are now walking up, and they've got some food in the I don't want to say the old Army term of mess hall, but up in the lunch area. where they're doing a big grill out for a lot of the campers today, and they're doing a grill out for a lot of the motorcyclists that came here today. But a spectacular day here at Camp Timberley. And I'll be honest with you, it was kind of cool this morning. It was probably about a 62, 63 degree day, cloudy, a little bit of a mist out here from earlier today, and a breeze. And I wore shorts and just a polo, and I was kind of cold, but the sun is starting to part the clouds, and you can feel the warmth. It's gotten a lot. Maybe it's just Greg and the gang from Kunis or something, but it has gotten a little bit warmer. And the motorcyclists are all in the back, and they're all dining now. And what a spectacular day. But again, if you want to make a donation of any type, and which is one of the reasons we are here, all you got to do is go to the Timberley website, TIMBER-LEE, timber-lee.com, timber-lee.com. And you can read about this place and take a look at it and see the videos. And it really is a very informative website as well. But a lot of good stuff. And as we say, and we can legitimately say, I know I always say whenever politicians use this terminology, it's usually a bunch of crap. But in this particular case, I am 100% dead on. It is literally for the kids. It is for everything from the kids that just come out to be educated and just want to spend a summer here. It's for the kids that come out here for burn camp. It's the kids that want to come out here for spiritual retreats with their parents and family and friends. It's for reunions like they have in the back of the property in the tenting area, which we showed up this morning, and they had this just big band and keyboards and electric guitars, and you could hear the music all throughout the property. You can hear all of that, and it was all here earlier today. But Camp Timberley was really in dire straits, and it's been revived, and they just need a little bit of help. And that's the reason we brought this to you. So there you go. So before we get out of here today, a lot of stuff going on, throughout the world of sports. And again, you got the Brewers getting a 7-3 win last night. Woodruff stellar goes to on the season the 3-1 with a 2-6. It looked really solid. Rowdy Tellez with the bomb last night, and also a base knock to drive at the plate. Christian Yelich and Ofer last night. It did take a walk. It did move a little bit, but had a big play in the outfield. Ended up a sliding base, took a base hit away, maybe an extra base hit had it gotten past him, but took an extra base hit away last night. The average dips to 284, but still 284 in the season. Barreras was 1 for 3 last night, but Carlos Santana, just get back to the back of your baseball card. 2 for 4 again last night. Scored a run last evening. Willie Adames, he's been hot. Willie's been hot. And another yard ball, 2 for 4 last night. Scored a couple, drove in one. And I mentioned Rowdy Tellez with 4 RBIs on the night last night. 4 of them. Has got the average up to 214, 2 for 4 last evening. Canna went 2 for 4 last evening. So Santana and Canna, both, they were 4 for 8 last night, driving in some runs. And, those two trades, boy, if they continue in that direction, it'll be spectacular the way that has worked out for the Milwaukee Brewers. And speaking of all of that, Brewers back at it again coming up tonight, but the Brewers did gain a game on the Cubs. The Cubs took a loss. The Brewers lead in the National League Central now as we sit here in August. 4 games over the Cubs, 5 games over the Reds, 13.5 over the Pirates, and 15.5 over the St. Louis Cardinals. And with last night's win, the Brewers also, their run differential, which we talk about so often, is now at plus 14. Remember, for such a long period of time, it was on the negative side. Now sitting at plus 14. In the meantime, you do have a score in the Packers game as you've got Anders Carlson split. It is now 3-0 Green, and that is with 6:18 left to go in the first quarter there. So there you go. It's been a great day. I think, this is where we're going to kind of jump off today. If there's anything you guys want to know that are watching and viewing and listening and such, go ahead and get a hold of us. If you got a question, but nevertheless, good stuff today. Good stuff today. Here's the one thing. Roughly 2.5 years after the 49ers got him, Trey Lance, his time with the team is over, by the way. And the Niners agreed to trade Trey Lance to the Cowboys in exchange for the 4th-round draft choice. Last night, General Manager John Lynch and Coach Kyle Shanahan, they confirmed that the 49ers not picking up Lance's remaining salary as a part of the trade. And so anyway, that was the big news coming out. And it was kind of time. They weren't going to use him anyway, and he's been a disappointment. So there you have it. There you go. Todd, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I can't complain.
Good.
Todd Ballard joining us. Let me flip the cameras over so people can actually see. So, big day today here with the motorcycle ride coming in, and you guys have quite a few groups that are here as well. And in addition to that, you've got you had bands and everything playing the music out back this morning when I got here.
Yep.
So explain to people what it is you do here at the camp.
So I'm the executive director here at the camp. So I basically just make sure everything runs smoothly.
Okay.
And we have such an amazing team that my job's pretty easy.
Okay.
I just make sure that all of our staff is taken care of, and they know how to do their jobs, and they do a phenomenal job.
So let me ask you this, because we were talking with Jessica a little bit earlier, and she did a great job of explaining, not only what the camp is all about, but some of the things, maybe the expenditures down the road that might be needed in the donation side of things. As you prioritize things moving forward with the camp, now that you've got stability behind you, and now you need to progress. If you had to say, Christmas is coming, here's my wish list of things that we could start. What are some of the things what would that wish list be?
Well, just as a lifespan, like you and I have a lifespan, right? These buildings are just getting old, but we really need to replace our rock wall.
Okay.
Our climbing wall is, we got maybe 2 years left in it.
Yeah.
And that's a big expenditure, but that's something that kids use. I mean, even when it's not, as long as it's not snowing, they can still go up, and that's almost year round. So that's like our big, I would tell you roofs. We need a lot of new roofs, but nobody wants to. That's not something that somebody's like, hey, I want to do that.
It's not the sexy stuff that people see. I mean, when you drive up and you see the flowers, and you're like, beautiful. Wow, what an impressive place. And but the little things like a leaky roof or a water heater that doesn't, give you more than 20 gallons of water, and a dryer and washer that don't really wash or dry. I mean, all that stuff needs to be replaced and taken care of.
Absolutely. I mean, Greg is my brother-in-law, Kunis, and I'm like, when you purchased this, you purchased probably $2 million in deferred maintenance.
Yeah.
In all reality, of things that need to be taken care of, need to be fixed. We did it for the right reason, to make sure that we can continue to keep it as an amazing Christian camp. But there's a lot that's going to. Need a lot of work and a lot of effort, and hopefully the community can come alongside of us to help us.
Well, the one thing when I was talking to Jessica, I said, well, if somebody wants to donate time or something like that, where do they do it? But you tell me. So how much of it is the maintenance people you have on site, and how much of it is people that just say, hey, we want to come and help?
It's a little bit of both. I mean, there's definitely some people that say, hey, I'm retired, I was an electrician, I can give you a day once a month or something like that. That's great. But most of the time it's just people can give you one-off days, and a lot of these things take longer than that, and then you got to pull permits for big jobs that we're doing. So we're always open to somebody saying we want to help. That's ministry anyways. But we have a good team here. We definitely need to hire a couple more people from maintenance though.
I was stunned at the amount of animals you have here.
I know, it's like a zoo.
And I've got a friend who has a horse, and there's a lot of money in one horse.
I know.
You have 40 horses. That's a chunk. I mean, that's just to keep the livestock and things that you have around here are incredible.
Yep.
But that's part of the experience. So you can't just get rid of it.
Exactly. When we took this place over, that was the one thing that most people said that their connection was to the ranch. They had horses out here, or family camp, or the science center, which costs a small fortune too to keep that going. And that's got, we have all kinds of animals inside of that too. So it's sort of like you have a zoo, if you will, out here on the midst of a beautiful campus at the same time.
And the cool thing is the kids are in there, and they're literally, they get hands-on with turtles, and they had some of the instructors in there. They can't just go grab all the snakes, but you have big snakes, little snakes, you have feeding snakes, which I'm sure they love to watch, so, but it's just this, and I was amazed because it's just this whole line of kids standing around turtles.
Yeah.
That two kids from the city never seen a turtle.
Right.
They drew one. They never saw one, which is amazing.
Yeah.
It's just, it's cool that they get to experience all of that. And I want to make one thing perfectly clear. It's not just groups.
Right.
Like if a family wants to come here, they can contact you and do things like that. Groups can come here. You get school kids that come here. It's all different types of groups and people and situations that come here.
There's definitely different opportunities for
Right.
every single person. We don't just open up just for a family just to come in, but we do family camps
Right.
At different times. And we're still trying to get our, as probably Greg told you, we're trying to get our head around what happened for 75 years here. This campus, this has been here for 50 years, but the whole camp has been 75 years. And we're saying, how do we run this thing the best way so that we can have an ROI at the end of the day and it stays open, not just stays open, but thrives so that more kids can come be a part of what God's done here at this camp for so many years. So it's really an amazing opportunity. I feel very blessed to be in this position.
We got about a minute here before we have to go. But so if people want to be a part of this, they want to donate, they want to contact you, what's the best way to do it?
They can do any of that through the website, or they can just call our phone number. I wish I had our phone number right in front of me, because just I don't know anybody's phone number. Timber-lee.com. Timber-lee.com. And just thank you so much for being out here today, Bill.
Absolutely.
Such a blessing.
It has been an hour's worth of awesome stuff out here at Camp Timberley, and I see the clock ticking down. But thanks for having us out here. This is awesome. I told Greg, I said, starting on Tuesday, we're going to go on the air for 2 weeks. We're going to offer up one of his RVs. We're going to pick you up anywhere in the state of Wisconsin, take you to a Packers game, drive you home. You don't have to drive. All the food, everything, tailgate, all supplied by some sponsors, and we're going to take care of it. And hopefully we raise at least a few grand for you. Buy a bunch of washers and dryers for you.
Amen.
All right.
Thank you so much, Bill.
There you go. We're going to go ahead and get out of here. It's been a great day here at Camp Timberley. Thanks to everybody for joining us. Thanks for hanging out. Jessica, Greg, Todd here hanging out with us as well. And all of you on the live stream, thousands of you were on the live stream today. Awesome.